evening, everyone. Good evening. Ooh, it's Friday evening. Lord, I must be tired. That's the last time I was on was Friday. It must be Monday evening. Lord help me today. Work with me. Be a hedge. Anyway, good evening. About to say good morning. Let me bag up. Let me get my head together. That's how you know it's live. Good evening, guys. Keith KL Belvin here. Pray everything is well with you, and welcome to another edition of Unapologetically Keith on air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, where we discuss the things that create a crisis because I am a crisis specialist. And what I want to do each week and with each show is to try to bring up things that I believe create crisis or things that I know create crisis and just figure out a way to have a conversation about them. And hopefully, if I can touch a nerve or trigger something with you, maybe you'll decide that you need some help, and I'll be here to offer that help to you. And one of the ways that we can deal with crisis is by discussing it. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, I'll be here, and I'm going to keep showing up. And so if you need me, I am here. So let's get ready to get started so we can talk about what we're going to do tonight. But before we do that, let's do a little housekeeping. Let me toss that up there. There we go. Let me do a little housekeeping. I am streaming on Facebook Live, Periscope, and YouTube Live. I believe LinkedIn, but haven't got the approval yet. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out. But if you're watching on Periscope, make sure you tap that screen for the hearts, and I appreciate that. Also, because I am streaming on multiple platforms, I do not get to see who is actually in with me unless you put up some type of emoji or you respond to me in the chat room. So that is going to be very important. It also creates the dialogue. There we go, right on cue. Hey, what's up, Flex? Your book is actually in the mail. Dropped it off over the weekend, so you should be getting it sometime this week. I appreciate you, brother. So again, that's how I know that you're in with me. If you're viewing and you jump in the chat room, that's how I know you're there. When you're there, I will shout you out because that way it lets you know that I'm paying attention. All right. No, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the support. So tonight, what we're going to discuss tonight, let me just bring this up for you. And tonight we're going to talk about 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. And this will be part one. It's going to be 3 parts. We're going to do 4 issues tonight, 4 issues on Wednesday, and 4 issues on Friday. And communication is one of the pillars in a relationship. It is one of the foundational pillars in a relationship. So I really wanted to make sure that I present some things that, one, make sense, and 2, that we are able to have in a discussion. If need be, I will go a little longer than a half an hour, depending. I'm not going to try to go too long because I want to get into the habit of doing the half an hour and getting off. Hey, Kels, how we doing? Yes, Mr. B is here. How are you? What's going on, love? I'm proud of you. Congratulations on all the things you're doing. I see the different pictures. Appreciate you. And I appreciate you guys for stopping in. So we're going to get started. And again, if you're tuning in, this is Unapologetically Keith on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Tonight, we're discussing 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. Part 1, we're going to deal with 4. And by all means, chime in the chat room if you got any thoughts or anything or whatever you want to share. Get this started. Number 1 of the 12 things, this is part 1. So number 1 is a real simple one. And I didn't put them in any particular order. I never do, because I'll let you guys decide or rank them in whatever way works for you. But if you're in a relationship and I'm good. I feel like I'm a little older now. You guys are all grown up now, but yeah, I appreciate you. Yes, we know what, little sidetrack. I get so excited seeing all you guys grown up, but I got to go through y'all pictures to try to figure out who some of y'all are, because some of y'all have grown up, and I am so proud of you. Your parents now. Listen, that is a blessing to still be here. So you're right. I feel like I'm in junior high school sometimes too. All right. Number 1, guys, yelling and screaming. Your partner feels the only way to get their point across is to yell and scream at you. Now, please understand this, and it's very important. If you're in a relationship and either one of you are using yelling and screaming to get your point across, that's unhealthy. And I know you may go, No, not everybody gets that. Not everybody understands that. Some people, the only way that they can get out how they feel, that's true. And I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping through. A lot of people believe that the only way that they can get their point across is yelling and screaming, or when they yell and scream, it amps them up, which then allows them to be able to get out what they have inside. And it's a weird thing, but it happens. Sometimes you will see people that the only way they can seem to get out what's going on inside is when they yell and scream, or they came from a family of yelling screamers, and it's something that was just passed down. Either way, it's unhealthy. And if you're in a relationship where somebody is yelling and screaming, over time, that is destructive to you. And God forbid you have children in the house. If you have children in the house, again, that is horrible. And it is not something that you want to consider. Hey, Sister Smith, how are you? Good evening. Thank you for popping in. Your book is on the way as well. So thank you for the support. Went out over the weekend, so you should have that sometime this week. And thank you for tuning in. We're discussing the 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. We're dealing with number one, which is yelling and screaming. And so tell you what, make sure you guys are checking me out. Put a one up in the chat room if you've been in a relationship where somebody yells and screams. Very disrespectful, Flex. Put a one in the chat room if you've dealt or been in a relationship where somebody had to yell and scream to get their point across, or it was you. If you want to throw yourself out there, I can honestly say that's never been me, but I have been in relationships where the young lady felt the only way she could get her point across was yelling and screaming. And I got to tell you, I wasn't in those relationships too long. Now, my ex-wife, she yelled and screamed not that often, but she do. And some of it was like, but we were together 11 years. Yeah. Thank you. My husband is like that. He said that's the only way I hear him. And his mom was that way. Thank you, Miss. You know what, Sister Smith, let me tell you. Oh, T to the Y, and you must add the Jones to it. Kel says she threw a one up, so she's been through it. Ty has been through it. Miss Smith just explained what may be something that's passed down through the family. So that's confirmation of what I'm saying, is because some folks, it's the only way that they know how to respond because they came up in a household like that, because that is scared. My dad was that way to my mom. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a project kid. I can't tell you the number of days that yelling and screaming went on in my home, as well as the homes around me, because project walls are very thin. And it just seemed like everybody was yelling and screaming. And I think for me, it's just not something that I adapted. I very rarely raise my voice to a woman. I just don't. And I damn sure never put my hands on a woman. My wife doesn't raise her voice at all. It's just not her thing, because she says she saw her mother and stepfather argue so much, and yelling and screaming at each other is just not something she wanted to do. So I'm glad you guys have put that out to let me know that, because then I know that we're touching on something here. Appreciate that. If you're ready for number two, throw a two up in the chat room, guys. If you're ready for number two, moving on. If you're ready for number two, throw a two up in the chat room. Let's see who we got here. We got Sister Smith. We got Ty Jones, T to the Y, and you must add the Jones to it. We got my former student Kells in the house. And Flex is here. Man, Flex, do you sleep, bro? Do you ever sleep? Flex is on. Flex, you are the man, because I'm like, wow, control freaks, yes. Also, not just control freaks, Flex, because you're right on being a control freak, but also it may be the only way that they know how to express themselves. We are the products of who raised us. So I'm going to get to that in a second. I'll definitely answer any questions if you guys want to have a Q&A at the end at work. Okay, I got you. All right, so we see a bunch of twos in the chat room, so let's move on to number two. I got you. And I'm glad you guys came to hang out with me tonight. I appreciate that. I was wondering what happened to everybody on Friday. I was sitting there all sad. I was like, nobody came in. But as I said on Friday, I will do this show like the whole world is watching, because this is what it is about being professional. So I appreciate all you guys being here tonight. Okay, number two. Now, this may be a little quirky, but work with me on this one. Number two, apologizing too much. The person who is being abused. If you find yourself apologizing often, in some cases for things you didn't do, just to make things better to go away, that's a problem. Because I find that the person who is absorbing all of the yelling and screaming and dealing with the negativity in a relationship, just to try to make things better, they're the one apologizing. Okay, I'm sorry, and yes, I'll fix it, male and female. And as a counselor, um, a lot of the people that I counsel with, I see it in sessions. Like the person will say something completely off the wall, and the other person will start apologizing for them. And I actually have to say, no, please don't apologize for him, or her. I'll deal with that. And then we go ahead and have a conversation. But when you find yourself apologizing too much for negative behavior, that is a problem. And that is a form of communication. You cannot give in to things that you know are negative. Now, if anybody has experienced that themselves or have been that, throw me a one in the chat room. Let me see if there's anybody that's been connected to this or has seen this with mother, father, or other relationships with their friends. Let me see if you've seen this. A one in the chat room, if you've seen somebody who seems to just apologize for the negative behavior of their partner. You see it sometimes in married couples. Actually, I've seen it a lot with a lot of folks, and it's sad because you see them trying to make up for the flaws somebody else has. Throw one in the chat room if that's something that you've seen. Thank you, Sister Smith, because all of these, I went through all 12, and I honestly can say I saw somebody that I knew in all 12, and I said, you know what? It's going to be an interesting week because I think all of these are going to be ones that we can actually have very long conversations about. Okay, so Sister Smith said she's seen it. Flex said he's seen it. Ty said it's what they do. PTSD from failed prior relationships sometimes have them in a depressed state. That's true, Ty. And the question is if they know it. A lot of times people are so hurt. And I'm glad you mentioned PTSD. That's a great point because if you've been in abusive relationships or you've been in something super negative, you don't realize that there is a form of PTSD that you carry on to the next relationship. And actually, if you don't get the help, you will punish the new person that comes into your life because dealing with the pain from the previous. Hey, Toya, welcome. Shout out to Toya who just jumped in. We're dealing with the 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. And you missed number one, Toya, which was yelling and screaming. I don't know if you missed number one, but number one was yelling and screaming. And we're on number two, which is apologizing too much. So welcome, Toya. Appreciate you. And so, but Ty, you're definitely on to something because it is a form of PTSD. And we always, and Kim's in the house. Hey, Kim, welcome, welcome. It is this one of the reasons why we say to people all the time, fix yourself before you go into the new relationship. Make sure you've dealt with the things that are wrong because you don't want to punish the new person who's coming into your life and may really care about you. You don't want to do that. And it happens often because a person, like Ty said, may have PTSD and not even know how bad they have really been affected by the relationship that they're in. So does that make sense? Who am I talking to tonight? Does that make sense? Throw one up in the chat room if that makes sense to you. And we're going to get ready to go in a second. Let me see. Oh, Steph jumped in. Hey, Steph, how you doing? Pleasure to have you tonight. And if you're just joining me, we're talking about the 12 communication issues which can affect your relationship. Number one was yelling and screaming. And number two was apologizing too much. So Toya says, man, it must come to terms. Man, it's a must to come to terms with your past before starting a new one. So true, Toya. But unfortunately, so many people feel the new relationship is going to be the thing that's going to help them get past their past. And what they don't realize is that it doesn't. You actually break down the new person, and over time, it just dissolves into mush. Hey, Carol's in the house, dealing with your own brokenness. Number one. All right, listen, we got some thinkers in the house tonight. I'm telling you, I've spoken to everybody on this list right here. We got some thinkers in the house tonight. All right, if we want to go on to number three, throw a number three in the chat room, and I'll move on to number three. And definitely, if we have time, I'll definitely answer any questions. If you guys have any Q&A at the end, or if you want to go over any one of those, we can talk about it. So if you're ready for number three, throw number three in the chat room. Let me see who's with me tonight. So we came in. Flex is still here. Toya, Stephanie. I see Kels is here. Jefferson T to the Y Jones, but you can say T to the Y and you must add the Jones to it. And if y'all wonder why I keep saying that, you got to go by his IG page to see that my man does he does some cooking and he makes you think when you stop by his page. Sister Smith is in the house. Okay, I think I've covered everybody. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Okay, so we got a bunch of threes. You guys are ready. So let's go on to number three. Now, this one I think we've all have done or have had done to us at one time. The silent treatment. You simply stop engaging your partner, whether to punish or to simply just get away. Now, I'm going to throw my own three up in there. Let me see. Let me put my, if this has happened to you, put a three in the chat room. Let me throw my own three up in there. I don't know if it's going to come through with you guys, but please put a three up if this is something that you have dealt. I think we all have. And I think we've all done or have all experienced the silent treatment. All right, now here's the question before I go on to number 4. And I want you to be honest with me. How many of y'all do that right now? I wish she put a bunch of threes up. Go ahead, Sister Smith. How many of y'all right now, that's your main weapon? I ain't saying nothing to him. I ain't saying nothing to her. And y'all just laying there. How I ain't gonna lie. I listen, I'm a child at heart. So I ain't gonna front. There's sometimes I'm sitting here in my office. I ain't saying nothing, just listening to old R&B. I let the song speak for me. So I know I'm not the only one. Look, we got a ton of threes up in here. I contemplate, but I try not to. Okay, but do you though? You said you try not to. Do you always went out to it? How many times do you actually do it though? But learn to communicate. I'm doing better. Yeah, Kels put a bunch of threes. And then Flex said it takes 2 to argue. Yes, you're 100% right. Here's the thing, guys. It's really how long that you put the silent treatment on. Let me just address that, because I do it, but my wife and I don't allow like a whole day to go by. Like we might, like tonight, I might be in, I might not say nothing. First thing in the morning, we're good, because we realize the relationship is bigger than our issues. Carol says, have had it done to me, not my mode of operation. I feel you, Carol. I feel you. I tell you, we got some thinkers in the house tonight. Let's see. Kel said, I do the same with the music. See, I'm not the only one. Sometimes I'll be looking for songs too and turn it up a little bit. Yeah, like, yeah. Oh, and I think I've told you this before. When I was going through my divorce with my ex-wife, I played Chico DeBarge, Listen to Your Man, Tyrese's Sweet Lady, and Lauryn Hill's X Factor like every day, like 4 or 5 times a day. I was just sitting in the living room. So I know it started to get to my ex-wife, because one day she came busting out the room. I don't know what you keep playing this damn music for. I don't know who this sweet lady you keep playing this music for. And I was sitting there looking at her like, it ain't you. Let me tell you something. It is better to leave than go through all that foolishness. And it was time. It was horrible. And if you've never read From Gigolo to Jesus, and actually I'm going to discuss Gigolo to Jesus tomorrow. Actually, our bond is our gift. I'm going to talk about tomorrow. But if you've never read my book, From Gigolo to Jesus, trust me when I tell you, I was not a good dude in a lot of areas. And I wrote the book because I wanted people to understand that you could have a whole lot of things going on at the same time. And with my ex-wife, she wasn't all to blame for the failure of the relationship. I take the weight because I was in a marriage, but I wasn't married. And we had children. And it was that, okay, we're going to try to figure out how to make this work for the children, which never works. Let me explain that to you. It never works. Just because you have children, that is not going to bring you closer together. If anything, it's going to tear you down even faster. So Kel says, I definitely haven't done it in a long time. I hate for too much time to pass and we still upset. Hate going to bed upset. I definitely want to talk about the issue so we can move forward. The next day is a new day. Let's do better. Exactly. My wife and I are the same way. We literally will self-repair. So in the morning, it's like, you good? You hungry? And then we'll sit down and then I'll say, you did me dirty, right? Or she'll say, you really meant, and we'll have a conversation. And then that's it. We go on. Life is good. Because to us, the relationship is bigger than that issue, unless it's something big. If it's something big, then we're going to go ahead and sit down and have that conversation because it's necessary. And one of the things that I do as a crisis specialist is I get people to acknowledge the things that are uncomfortable, use me as the conduit, and then let's have that conversation so we can get it on the table. Toya says the silent treatment to collect thoughts and then discuss. Yes, that's why I said I know we all do it. It's just a matter for how long and then what else you do when you're silent. Like some people will do the silent treatment and then leave the house and not say where they're going. Some people, like Kels and I just said, we will play music and let the music speak for us. Some will do the silent treatment where they won't speak to their partner, but speak to everybody else and then speak to everybody else with real adulation and joy. But then when their partner comes by and it's all psychological warfare, and over time it's not good, and it really isn't, and it actually impedes the relationship, it stunts the relationship, and actually causes the relationship to die. You, even if it's uncomfortable, try to have I leave. Okay, I feel you. I used to do that with my ex-wife too. Sometimes I would just drive around the corner. I was living in Brooklyn, so I used to drive right around the corner off of Flatlands and just park my car and just listen to the radio because I wasn't driving too far, and I knew that if I went too far, I may end up getting into something I shouldn't have. So um, I would do the same thing, Flex. Okay, so we got the last one, number 4 tonight. Only doing 1 through 4 tonight, and then we'll do 5, 6, 7, and 8 on Wednesday. So if you're ready for number 4, guys, throw a 4 in the chat room. Let me see if you guys are ready. We are talking 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. I am Keith K.L. Belvin, your crisis specialist, who is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 to 10 o'clock on Unapologetically Keith. We don't say I'm sorry. We don't apologize. We just lay it out there, whatever happens. Okay, let's see. Sister Smith says, "Oh my God, you hit it. Yes, I experienced all that. My husband would treat others kind and treat you negative." Yeah, that's how some of us do it. I did that a few times. I can't even front. I got to tell the truth. I would do that with people I work with in work relationships. I would literally just not speak to certain people I work with, but treat everybody else like gold. And they'd be like, "Why are you treating me? Because I don't like you." And I had to learn to get past all that. So we got Flex is ready for number 4. Miss Smith is ready for number 4. Who else is ready for the 4th one? I think it's a good one. Of the first 4 of the 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. Let me get one more 4. Who's listening? Give me another 4, somebody. Somebody throw a number 4 in that chat room. Give me one more number 4 so I can move on and give y'all this last one here. There we go. Kim jumped in here. Oh, Kim's been hiding in there. How we doing, Kim? All right. Let's see. Number 4. All right. And they start. It disappeared. There we go. Number 4 is when they start speaking in absolutes. Please pay attention to this. When you hear things like "you always" or "you never," now please pay attention, because if it is you or if it is being done to you, this right here is salt, pure salt into the wound. You always, you never. I chose this one as the last one going into the end of the evening because it is very important. When you start speaking in absolutes, you are destroying your partner. If you're trying to say your partner is this way all the time, that is a straight insult at who they are as a person. Hear me when I talk to you guys. Listen to me. And again, okay, let me ask you guys, forget me running off with the mouth. How does it feel? Put a 1 in the chat room if it makes you feel horrible when somebody says "you always" or "you never" when you know that's not true. Yes, you might have did something once or twice, but when somebody says "you always" or "you never," please put a 1 up if you know that makes you feel like, really? Tell me that doesn't get at you. Tell me, what do you guys think? It's a time to go sign. It's a time to go sign. Oh, you missed me with that. What is sign what? Oh, sign the divorce papers. Is that what you meant? Time to sign the divorce papers? Let me tell you something. Divorce ain't easy, bro. Especially if y'all got property and other stuff like that. I was lucky enough that my divorce went very easy, very smooth, but I had to lay it out. But divorce is never. Oh, Dennis is here. Okay, what's up, Dennis? Good to see you. We just covered the first 4 to 12 communication issues which affect your relationship. I'm gonna go through the list again for everybody too. I'm gonna hang out for a couple of minutes. I got a feeling I might be here a little past 10:30, so it's no problem. I mean 10 o'clock. I'm not gonna stay to 10:30, but yes, guys, this one right here. And if you're doing this, please check yourself, because when you speak in absolutes, you always. It's like you bring it up. Oh, never been married. I got you. Well, wait till you find the right one. I feel you, bro. I'm on number 2, and I'm not getting married again. I'm going to make this work. It's been working. We've been together 20 years. We've been married 13. August will make 13 years. I'm in there. We got something good here, so I'm going to hold on. But I had to learn a lot from the failures of my first marriage. And that's another thing, guys. Again, if you've never read my book, From Gigolo to Jesus, you're going to understand that I had to learn how to be a good husband. I didn't just, when you see Tiff post the stuff that she posts and you see us share the things that we share about our relationship, I had to learn how to be a good man. So I'm 52 now. So when I was 32, I had to learn, I had to mature. And that maturity came at the pain of somebody else. And normally that's what happens. When we grow, it is because we move past our own pain. That doesn't mean that the person that we hurt is going to move past theirs, but once you let them go, you got to let them go. Kel says, my kid's dad was this way, still is actually, but I definitely deal with him differently. No doubt. No doubt. Thank you, Flex. I appreciate that. Flex said he's happy for me. But that, and Kels, let me read that again. Kels said her dad, the kid's dad was this way, still is actually, but definitely deal with him differently. You have to. And guys, let me tell you something. The older that you get, hopefully, and I say hopefully, the more mature that we get, because we got to learn from our past mistakes. As you know, those that forget the past are doomed to repeat it. That is true. If you do not, and it goes back to that PTSD that Ty was talking about, if you don't address your pain, and Carol mentioned the same thing about addressing your pain. If you don't address your pain, you will bring that to the relationship and you will start to destroy the new relationship. And this is why speaking in absolutes is horrible. You cannot say to your significant other or allow to be said to you when somebody says, you never listen. You always that way. You never wanted to be with me. We can run them all down. When that happens, it tears a piece at you. And over time, that destroys any momentum that you would have had in that relationship. Am I talking to myself, or do y'all know what I'm talking about? Because I hate it. I'm praying for my husband. I'm praying for my husband's ex-wife mistakes. I'm praying for my husband's ex-wife mistakes. Been married 26 years and he has issues unresolved. Yeah, this is why I'm here. I had to deal with my own pain, and okay, Ty says it sucked the security of the relationship. I had to leave after hearing you never do blank and started comparing me to her ex. Yeah, that used to hurt and break me down. Thank you, Kels. She left him for another man. Wow. Okay. How do you know that it was? How do you know what your pain is or was? Dennis, that's a great question. Actually, what you do is you focus on the things that made you feel unhappy. Um, what happens is in the relationship, what is it that you wanted? And what is it that you were unable to get? And what is it that you wish went differently? Now, if you're in a relationship, what are the things that make you feel good? But what are the things that really tear you down? And start to have those conversations. If you're not sure, then that's where you can come to me and set up a counseling session where we can sit down and try to figure it out, where I can listen and bring some things out based on the conversation. Or I do couples counseling where I can sit and have conversations with the couples. And there's things that I can hear that you may not be able to hear because I'm not tied to your significant other like you are. I don't have that emotion. So when I hear something, I go, why would he say that? Or why did she say that? And yes, I did go to school, so I do have a professional ear that is mature enough to be able to listen. But I think like anything else, this is part of what I do. And I'm going to go a little bit long. I'm going to go about 5-10 minutes longer to have conversation with you guys if you have any questions. And by all means, if you have any questions, now's a good time to throw them out there. We'll definitely put them out there. And let me just give you, this is the question that Dennis just put out there. He said, how do you know what your pain is or was? And that's a good question, because sometimes when I'm in counseling sessions and I'm talking to some people, they'll start to explain to me what's going on. And I can tell just from their explanation that they really don't realize what's going on with themselves. Flex says, I too see the pain and try to help the person, but they wasn't ready to let go, so we couldn't grow. Yeah, that's very good, Flex, because that's another thing too, guys. Let me say that to you also, is there's also a point when you got to realize this ain't working. This person ain't getting it. I'm going to have to let them go. I'm not going to stay here and destroy myself because they can't figure it out. Everything might have been good at one point, but once you start to see it go south and you've put in an honest effort to fix it, and that person still doesn't want to grow and still doesn't want to change, and you realize that they sold you a bad bill of goods, that you got a lemon, and they're not trying to change, get out of that. I was in my previous relationship. We dated for 2 years. We were married for 8.5, almost 9. And honestly, I should have left a long time ago, and I didn't. And all the cheating and everything else that I did and all the other foolishness that I did was my way of sparking back at the relationship instead of dealing what was wrong. I was everything that I was not now. And this is what we're talking about tonight, guys. I'm going to go over all four for you. So if you missed any, I'll bring those up with the captions. And okay, so we're going to go back over it real quick, guys. Here we go. Number one was yelling and screaming. Number two, okay, hold on. Let me just back up a second. Let me set this up the right way. If you have just joined us and if you have just popped in here or you have not been here for the whole time, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, and we are discussing that you cannot relieve the past with someone who won't work out their trauma. Amen, Cal. So true. The 12 communication issues which affect your relationship, part one. And let me go back over those, what they were. Number one was yelling and screaming. Number two was apologizing too much. If you feel that you're apologizing for their behavior way too much, it's not healthy. Number three, the silent treatment. Number four, speaking in absolutes. Now, like to Dennis's point, how do you know you're in pain? Here you go. If for any reason, any of these hit home with you, if any of these issues that I brought up hit home, all right, talk to you later, Flex. Appreciate you, brother. And again, thank you so much. Your book is on its way. It should be there soon. Make sure you take a picture when you do get it and let me know that you got it. I appreciate you. So again, if for any reason these four issues hit home with you and you feel you need somebody to talk to, reach out. Go to bit.ly/Coach Key and set up your time. It'll send me a notification that you picked the time that you'd like to talk. And the first call is free. And we'll sit down and we'll figure out some things. I'll listen to some things. We'll figure out what I can do. Because if I cannot help you, I will honestly tell you that I cannot help you, but I will try to refer you to someone who can, because the first rule is I do not hurt. If I cannot help you, I'm not going to hurt you, because I'm not going to just work with you so I can try to take your money, and I'm not making it better for you. And you work at your pace. I don't try to force you into anything, because that doesn't solve anything either way. But you can hold on to that as well as pass that on to anybody who might need it. I'm here. This is what I do. I work with children. I work with couples. I work with singles. Because at the end of the day, as you see me say all the time, is that my hashtag is we can fix this, because I honestly believe that. So get ready to bounce out tonight. Anybody have any questions or any observations or anything they want to share that I can talk about for a hot second or two before I get ready to get out of here and say goodbye? Because it's always, guys, not as long as I see to have quite a few here. I appreciate you guys showing up with me, because I will be on. Oh, let me just give you a little something about tomorrow, so you guys know that I'm on tomorrow. Make sure you get these times on Tuesday and Thursday. It's 10 o'clock, guys. But let me just give you this here. Where is it at? Where is it at? Okay, so tomorrow I'm on. Tomorrow I am on. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's just literary conversations. Thank you, Sister Smith. Where can you publish them? I'll put it in for you right now. Hold on a second. I got you, Kels. You can go to my website, actually, and purchase the books. All right, it's www.bravenpublishing.com. I'm going to put it up for you in the chat in a second. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, that's where you can buy the books, Kels. That's the website right there. You can buy the books from there. Eastern Standards, yes. Thank you, Kels. Let's see. What should one do in a situation that Carol speaks of? Let me go back and look and see what Carol put so I can see. Carol said, you cannot relieve the past with someone who won't work out their trauma. Okay. Well, Toya, what you do when that happens is you, as the person trying to get them help, there's two things that you can do. First, you try to address it with them directly. You try to point out, but make sure you do your homework first, so you're not just throwing random stuff out. Come with examples. You're welcome, Kels. I appreciate it. And when you order the books, if I have them here, I'll sign them when I send them out. If not, then they'll be sent from my printer directly to you. And I appreciate you, Ty, and keep cooking, man. The food's looking great. If you ever been by Ty's IG page, he chops it up, does a lot of cooking there. One of the things that you can do, Toya, is you get your ducks lined up, and then you sit down and try to have a conversation where you say, listen, I care about you. This is what I see as wrong. How can we fix this? How can we work on this together but make sure you have examples so it doesn't look like you're just pulling random stuff out of the air. Now, if that doesn't work, if the person is now apprehensive and resistant to um, the direct approach, then say to them, why don't you speak to somebody? Why don't you go talk to somebody? And that's where I come in, where you could say, you know what, I spoke to my partner, he or she is considering speaking to you. But here's what's very important. Now, listen to me on this, guys. Make sure your partner wants to speak to somebody. Forcing them to talk to me is not going to make it better. They just sit quietly, they nod, they say a whole lot, they just kind of yes me to death because they really don't want to be there talking to me. They have to want, and Carol, when Carol mentions, let me just go back up because I want to make sure I read it right. Actually, I'll put it on the screen for you what Carol said. When Carol said you cannot relive the past with someone who won't work out their trauma. Exactly, because what happens is you can't go back there for them. They have to want to fix this. They have to want to be better. The relationship has to be more to them than their past and their pain. It should bother them that their pain is causing you pain. That's how I feel about it. And so if they do say, well, I need some help, but I don't know who to talk to, then I'm here. You say, hey, listen, I got somebody. You send them to me and we'll go through it. Because one of the things that I try to get a person to do in a counseling session when dealing with a subject like this that Carol mentions is I get them to understand or admit that there's something wrong. They don't have to own it all at that point, but just admit that there's something wrong, even if they don't know how to fix it. Like, well, yeah, I do some of that, but I don't know what to do. That's okay. Thank you for being honest. And that's actually what you hear me say in a session. Thank you for being honest. Now let's figure it out. And now we'll start to take out the bad pieces of wood and repair it with some good ones. Fix the foundation where it's tore up and make it strong again by rebuilding a person. And you rebuild a person by addressing their pain. I'm an empath, so I can take your pain and hold it and then help you take it from there. It's not about me fixing it. It's about you understanding that you want it fixed. And then I help you get there by walking you to the very thing that you want to do, which is fix it. And that's why you hear me with my hashtag say all the time, we can fix this. Any other questions, any other concerns before we get up out of here? Because I love the conversation and I'll run my mouth all night if you let me. Anything else that you guys want to go over real quick before I get up out of here? But I was saying about tomorrow. Let me just go over for tomorrow's session, guys. So Tuesday and Thursday is my literary conversations where I just go over some things. Thank you so much, Toy. I appreciate that. So Tuesday and Thursday, a little bit different. I'm just talking about my books. And I explained to you different things that my books are connected to, like the other night when I was talking about how Lukewarm Saint actually deals with the struggles that we have internally. Now, tomorrow, this is going to be interesting. You might not have known this, but my book, Our Bond is Our Gift. Let's see. My book, Our Bond is Our Gift, believe it or not, is something that I created to help save relationships. And you know how? It was through live streaming. I use lives that I did on Periscope and Facebook Live, and I used them, transcribed them into writing, and turned them into that book because I wanted to speak to relationships in a way. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, and all of my covers tell a story, by the way. This one is because I wanted to make this for everybody. Like, I wanted to let everybody know that we're all in different relationships. And so if you look at the cover, we have a little bit of everything. All right. And so you see we got all complexions there because relationships cut through color. Relationships cut through a lot. We're all connected. Yes, it's on the website, Sister Smith. All my books are on my website, by the way. All of my books are on my website because let me tell you something, guys. Always get an author's book from his website or her website because Amazon holds an author hostage. They take 55% off the top. So an author really doesn't make any money on Amazon. And Amazon spends billions of dollars to convince you that that's the only way to buy books. If you can, get it from their website. And if an author is doing it the right way, they have a secure website like mine. I've had my website since 2007, have had no issues. You can pay through PayPal. I'll get the order. Actually, I got a couple people here. Sister Smith has bought a book through my website. Flex and Lisa was on the other night. So I've sold books through my website, no problems. I'll get the payments and your books will go right out to you. So, but yeah, I took my live streaming like this and I turned it into a book because I wanted to get my take on relationships. And so just like tonight's session, we had an interesting conversation. I put that in a book along with conversation questions so you can have a conversation with yourself, you can have a conversation with your significant other, or you can have a conversation with a group. Say if you're at church or where if your ladies is out drinking or your fellas is out drinking, you can just sit down and have some conversations about the subjects in the book. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't want to get too much on that. But for tonight, guys, I want to say thank you so much. So let me just give my shout outs before I go. Sister Smith, thank you so much. Toya, thank you so much. T to the Y, and you must add the Jones to it. Thank you so much. Kels, always a pleasure. Hey, guys, if y'all didn't know, I was Kels' junior high school teacher. So I'm dating myself. I'm very old. So I was Kels' teacher in junior high school in Brooklyn, New York. So now she's all grown up, and I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of all my former students. So shout out to you, Kels. And if you need me, Mr. B is still here. Toya, I said, is here. Flex was here. Carol, always great to see you. Carol, another former New Yorker. We're not going to tell you where you live at. We don't want nobody stalking you. But Carol's another former New Yorker. Dennis popped in tonight. Appreciate you. Kim was here. I remember seeing Kim here. Let's see if I missed anybody else. Dennis was here. I think that's everybody. I think that is everybody that I saw that was in the chat room tonight. Let me just make sure. Flex, I got Flex. Oh, Stephanie. I knew there was one more that I was missing. Stephanie was in tonight. Shout out to Steph for popping in. Let me see if there's anybody else that was in because I saw one or two new faces tonight. Nope, I think that's everybody. So I wanted to give a shout out to everybody. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. And depending on the conversation, I will stay a little longer than a half an hour, but I'm going to get ready to go. I want to say thank you so much. Oh, Glenda. Hey, Glenda, Miss Van Horn, how we doing? And there's a fellow colleague that I taught with in Brooklyn, New York. So shout out to Glenda. How you doing, sister? But you caught me. I'm getting ready to leave, so you're going to have to watch the replay and leave your comments. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening to Unapologetically Keith. Let me just give you this here. Okay. So Unapologetically Keith every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 10 o'clock, a little longer depending on if the conversation is hitting. And you can pick up my books from my website, bravenpublishing.com, as well as remember this, as you see it right there on the screen. Remember, we can fix this. I mean that. All of you know that I'm a man of God, and the reason why I believe that we can fix this because I believe all the things that we need to repair the problems that we have has already been given to us. It is why I do what I do. It is why I'm here to help you, and it is why I show up every day, Monday through Friday. I am here for you, and if you reach out to me, I make myself available because this is my ministry. Okay, so if you need me, reach out. I am here. Book a free session with me, and that is how we'll sit down and talk, and we'll get things started. Don't hold on to pain. Don't keep it in. Don't think that everything's just going to go away because you know what? You're not going to say anything. No, that's not how it works. And there it is. I'm going to leave you with that before I go, is that do not hold pain inside thinking that it's going to go away. I sure wish my marriage be fixed. Could have been fixed. I want to make sure I got that the right way, Sister Smith. You said, I sure wish my marriage be fixed. Because honestly, guys, I sometimes look and I pray. I pray for my ex because she's the mother of my children. But I understand why she's angry with me 20 years later. I'd be angry with me too. And if you haven't read From Gigolo to Jesus, I wish can be fixed. You know what, Sister Smith? Everything can be fixed, but sometimes the fix is actually to be a part. Like, I'll give you an example. I feel bad with how bad my ex and I botched our relationship. I can't take all of the blame. She was bad too. But if I didn't leave when I did, I would not be with my wife now, who I'm ecstatic with. So I had to leave a painful situation, accept the blame and the heat for what I put into motion to be able to at least hear and see when my lovely wife came back into my life. And I had met her 5 years earlier and tried to talk to her, but she knew I was married, wasn't having it. So 5 years later, the first thing out of her mouth was, "Are you still married?" I was like, "Yes, but I'm separated." And that's how we started talking, and we've been together ever since. And when I talk about From Gigolo to Jesus, when I do that show, and I'm probably going to need a whole hour, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. Not every relationship is fixable because some relationships were never supposed to be in place. Now, let me just say that. And again, I don't mind staying on a little bit later because if it's going to help, it's going to help. Listen to me with this one, guys. Not every relationship can be fixed because some of them weren't supposed to be put together. Now, we won't know that until we sit down and tear it apart, but I think some of you do know it. And I think sometimes out of fear or whatever, we stay in things that we shouldn't. I stayed years longer than I should, but actually it worked out for the best. So tomorrow we do numbers 5 through 8. I look forward to seeing you guys. Have a wonderful night. Let me jump off. I'll definitely jump back in the chat room later on. So if there's some other things that you want to discuss, keep putting it in the chat room, and I will definitely come back in and check it out. Oh, let's see. Okay. Let me see something here. She says, I got it. I guess I have to accept it. The only one trying. Thanks for the clarification. You know what, Sister Smith? Go to that link. We can always talk, and I'm always here. Set up a free call with me, and let's talk. Who knows? I don't know. It's a little hard to try to figure out just from a small snippet in the chat room, but go to my link, set up a call with a time that works for you. Let's talk. First call's free. Don't worry about it. And let's have a conversation because we don't know I don't know what it is until I hear from you. It might be fixable. It might not be. You don't know. And T to the Y, thank you. You're right. It's time to drop the mic and get out of here because I'll mess around, be here for another hour. Oh, look at that, guys. Congratulations. We did it again. Look at that. Look at that. That's you guys. That ain't me because I only typed in one message. Y'all did the other 99. Look at that. Congratulations. We received 100 messages today. How about that? Thank you so much. I'm honored. I will see you tomorrow if you want to listen to the literary conversation. If not, Wednesday we do number 5 through 8 with this same subject, and we'll pick it up from there. I think you're going to like the next 4. Have a good night, guys. God bless.